Hello and welcome to another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. I'm Dave G, and joining me right now is my co-host.
Hello everybody, I'm Kyle.
And today we're going to be taking a look at this great new movie called Ghosts of War. It's another one of these horror flicks that have come out during the COVID time. I'll put a preface out there for everybody who's listening. In some areas, this film is going to cinemas. In other areas, it's going online. So just watch out for that. But I think it's going to be online in most places. Now, this movie comes from director-writer Eric Bress. And it basically follows a group of soldiers, which include Chris, played by Brenton Thwaites, and Tappet, played by Kyle Gallner. And they're sent for what is kind of a cushy job during World War II, going and checking out this mansion that the Nazis have occupied at some stage, but it's been taken back over by the Allies. It's in regional France at the end of the war, so the Nazis are a little bit on the run. These guys are sent there to make sure that it's still in Allied hands, and there's a bit of a rumour that the Nazis are going to go by that way again. When they get there, they think it's going to be a bit of a cushy post, but things soon start to take a very, very horrific turn when they realise that this mansion is haunted. We'll talk a little bit more about the movie as we go on, because there's a couple of big twists in this film as well. But mate, I've got to start off by saying, what did you think of Ghosts of War?
Yeah, I really liked it. I guess I was really surprised. Just at first appearance, it kind of has like a simple B movie feel to it. I really enjoyed. Like at first, I didn't know that it was directed by Eric Bress, and I really enjoyed his previous films, like Final Destination, Butterfly Effect. And I was kind of surprised that he hasn't really made much else, and hasn't really been attached to anything for 11 years.
Yep.
As hugely successful as those movies were, they launched their own franchise. I think Final Destination had 5 installments.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I did an interview with another director this week who was one of the original writers on the first Final Destination movie, and he's the same. His movie that he's got coming out right now is the first thing that he's done in years, and the first movie he's ever directed. So it's weird.
Yeah, so these directors, they're behind these really huge movies, but yeah, it's odd to see them kind of disappear for such a long time. I always kind of wonder, what have we been doing to pay the bills in that time? I guess the Final Destination residuals are still paying the bills. But yeah, it does have this kind of a cheaper B movie feel to it. But at the same time, the actors were great, and just the way that it was written, I thought it really elevated the whole movie. I was a bit let down by the ending. I know a lot of people are, but I thought almost everything else leading up to that was really great. This gory war ghost haunted house movie, but with this kind of a twist that really made it kind of interesting, and yeah, it was just. I thought it was mostly a really well put together movie, and very kind of a lot more better than I was kind of expecting it to be. What did you think of it, dude?
Yeah, look, the twist at the end, it's one of those things that's really dividing people. One of the things that I really didn't like was in the press notes that I'd read about this film, it kind of mentioned a big name actor. And I don't want to actually say it on the podcast, because I don't want people having the same experience as what I did, in that I was looking for this guy the entire time, saying, where is he, where is he? And then, yeah, he pops up in the twist. And
well, he is actually right at the start.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, sorry.
But it kind of... that kind of ruined it for me, in a sense. Not ruined the film into the point that I didn't enjoy it, because I did enjoy it. But I kept on waiting for something to happen, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's weird, because I think it's like we've mentioned on this show before, I don't really like twists that happen in a movie where there's no... I don't like them signposted, but I also don't like it kind of coming out of left field and and there not being any references to them at all. And a few people have actually said, yeah, that actor appearing earlier in the movie is a kind of
makes it pretty blatant.
Yeah, is kind of a hint to something later on, but I didn't see it as that at all. Like, I just thought, oh, well, the director's got a friend who's a well-known actor, so he's done a small part. Kind of like what Robert Taylor did in Blood Vessel, where he's only there for the start kind of thing. Having said that, though, it's so hard to review this movie because there was so much that I loved, but I was disappointed by the twist. But at the same time, I loved the twist. Like, I thought the twist was what made this film so different. So it's a really, really difficult film to review.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it's definitely kind of like two types of movie. Like, you go into it and you think, yeah, it's just this kind of weird, like, slasher horror World War II film, kind of something like Overlord, I guess, the way that kind of mixed like World War II movies with like zombie films. But yeah, it does have something else to it, and like, I mean, at the start of the movie, like, it really has this kind of like almost an Inglourious Basterds nature to it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when we see the characters, like, they take out a jeep filled with Nazi soldiers, they don't really kill many of them, but like in the first like explosion. But then it's like, yeah, they're bashing their heads in with the survivors. Are getting their heads bashed in with rocks, and yeah, they're like pulling out their gold teeth with wrenches and stuff. It's like kind of, yeah, really kind of like heavy stuff. Like, to see the characters doing right at the start, like kind of like almost like, yeah, okay, they're Nazis, but it's almost like kind of like war crime stuff that your main characters are doing right at the start.
Yeah.
But like, I did like that because it's kind of like, it's something that carries throughout the entire movie, where there's this idea, like, in the back of your mind that like, these soldiers have maybe done things in the past which, like, they're being haunted by, and that maybe that there's more going on in the movie than just it being like a simple like haunted house story.
Yeah, the opening actually reminded me a lot of Fury with Brad Pitt, in the way that it was shot, but also like that there was you got a feel for all of these characters very, very quickly. That was one of the things that I really praised this movie for. You have these 5 soldiers, and they each had their own personality. Like, you've got the one guy who's like, yeah, come on, fight me. Like, he just wants to be in a fight, so he challenges one of the Germans to fight him and stuff like that. And there's that kind of air of mystery around Tappet. Like, is he like a real sicko? Like, what is wrong with him kind of thing? Like, every person has a story about some messed up thing the guy has done in front of them. I thought Brenton Thwaites was really good as Chris as well. Like, but I really enjoyed that fact that Eric Bress had given these guys all a character and kept to that character throughout. They weren't similar. Like, there was never a point in this movie where you're like, I don't know which one of those guys that is, or anything like that. You mentioned there about the pulling of the teeth. I loved the little revelation later on about why he does that. Like, what he does with the gold teeth. I thought stuff like that was really good. It's the kind of stuff that you expect to see in your big war productions like Band of Brothers, stuff like that. So, and I even thought the supernatural element to this film, it worked. Like, with what is kind of set up there, it actually does work. So, yeah, from that point of view, I really, really enjoyed the film.
Yeah, like, not like going in, like, looking at it as like a haunted house kind of movie. Like, some parts I thought were a bit hit and miss. Like, I did think that it was really effective the way Eric Bress, like, the way he kind of puts things in the background. Like, the movie has like a few blink and you'll miss it moments, like really creepy stuff in the back. It kind of reminded me of the Woman in Black or Sinister.
Yeah.
With, like disturbing visuals that are kind of hidden in the background and stuff like that. I thought that was quite well done. At other times, I guess the B movie thing is something that I did kind of have a bit of a problem with, like just that B movie feel. like there's a bit of a cheapness to the movie, like with its production, but also with how it's presented, which doesn't really help the whole horror. Like how effective I think the movie really, the script and how it's put together and the actors, how well it could have come off.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of kind of like cliche kind of horror tropes in it, like where like, you know, loud noises or like the same quiet build up that accompanies like an expected jump scare, like that kind of ruins a few things. Like I thought, like talking about the cheap kind of feel, I thought that it was weird whenever the characters would go into down into like this creepy basement where all the documents and the clues to the fate of the family who owned the chateau that they're staying in, like where all that stuff is. Like whenever there was a scene down there, it always seemed to be lit just as well as any other room in the house.
Yeah,
and like it kind of felt like very, I don't know, it kind of made the movie feel a little bit cheap in that respect. Like I don't know whether this was the fault of like the cinematographer Lorenzo Senatore. Because he's someone who's worked as director of photography on the second unit of a whole lot of like huge successful movies, but all the movies where he's been the primary DOP seem to be straight to DVD cheap sequels and schlocky horror and sci-fi movies. Like I don't want to blame him just for it, but I was thinking that this movie like visually looked like one of those types of cheaper movies long before I found out that's basically what all the movies that he's involved with look like. But like overall, like did you find it to be like a really scary movie, like for those parts?
Yeah, I thought that part kind of worked. It was kind of in that kind of Conjuring area. It's funny that you mentioned the lighting, because I actually found that lighting a little bit of a relief, because I watched this straight after I'd watched The Vigil, which is the new Blumhouse movie, and I spent most of that movie like squinting and trying to go, well, what is that? I can't make it out. Like the movie was so poorly lit in some parts that like it like at one point you have the character looking into the darkness and like it's obvious he can see something, and you're watching it on the screen, and it might just be because at the moment we can't watch it in a cinema, so we're watching it on a TV screen. But I found myself like squinting, going, oh, what is that? I can't even make it out. So for me, like this one was kind of a blessing that the lighting, because I found that they also were pretty creative with the way that they did that too. Like there was always like a flame or something that was enhancing it as well. Like I don't know, I didn't get a cheap vibe from this film. Like I just looked up to see if I could find what the budget was, and they haven't mentioned the budget at all. But I don't know, it felt like at times it was dark because it needed to be kind of thing. Like if you think how Fury and 1917 were lit, like they deliberately kind of like made it overcast and grey kind of looking. I thought that at times they deliberately did this as well, like to kind of give it that bleak kind of war element to it. Because I thought this film worked in that how it blended its genres so well. I was talking about this with someone else the other day, and I was saying that in the past, whenever they've tried to do a horror movie and it's been set during the war, it feels like they either forget one genre or the other. Whereas this one and Blood Vessel both kind of remembered the war element and remembered the horror element. So, yeah, from that point of view, I thought it really worked. I thought the one thing that this movie does show is something that I've known for a while now. Brenton Thwaites is one of the most underrated Australian actors. Like, the body of work that this young guy has put together at his age, and people rattle off lists of like top 25 actors, and this kid never gets a look in. This kid, like, it's kind of scary that he is still so young when you consider the movies that he's worked on. I just think he's going to end up being one of those great Australian actors in the end.
Yeah, like he's worked in a lot of stuff. I think that's the kind of thing for me. Like the movie, like it didn't feel cheap on like on any other level, and just like for me, just the kind of way it looked. It's like I feel like this is like the director of photography is kind of the same kind of person that directs or who works on these kind of cheaper movies. But this movie, yeah, the writing, the production design, and yeah, the actors, especially the actors, like, yeah, I thought that was all top notch. It's funny, yeah, you say that about like when they try to blend between like two genres like war movie and horror movie or whatever, and they kind of forget about one. That was something that I think we were kind of talking about with Overlord, the way that it did kind of like at the beginning, it felt very much like a World War II movie, but there was like some like kind of kind of like some more like modern horror film kind of stuff in it, you know. Whereas this one, even though like there's more to it than this, like it really does feel like legitimate. I thought that like the actors were so good in it, like the dialogue and the exposition, and like you say, the way that you're finding out about the stuff like of their past and the things that they've seen and the things that they've done, and the way that this is written and the way that it's performed, I thought that was really, yeah, it was really effective. Like that, I had no problem with, like, because there's a lot of other movies, like I know I'm thinking about Kong Skull Island, that in that movie, like a lot of other war movies, that whenever they have characters talking about, Joey has to go lose his cherry to some whore and stuff, like whenever they talking like that, it always comes off really bad, like, and really, it comes off like a satire, you know, like if it's not made like a really, if it's not made by, I don't know, like a really, if it isn't an obviously serious World War II movie or something like that, then a lot of that kind of, that dialogue, it doesn't ring true, and it comes off kind of like, the way that the actors in Tropic Thunder were talking to each other, you know, like just, that was obviously a satire, and that's how a lot of it came off. A lot of it comes off in these other movies. But in here, even though it's like a ghost movie World War II thing, like it all felt, like it all came off really believable. Yeah, it came off like the characters of Band of Brothers had just wandered into a ghost house. Yeah. You know, like, well, like, I don't want to, I guess I'll talk a lot more about the ending, but I guess I don't want to go into that right yet.
I also wouldn't. I think we should warn people, don't go to the IMDb page for this either. You highlighted to me before about a picture, but if you also read through the cast list and the characters that they play, there's a couple, like, further down on the page that kind of not give away, but hint that there's, something there with the twist that they probably shouldn't mention, so...
Yeah, it's like, exactly like you say right at the start, when you hear about, wait, it has this actor in it, and okay, well, you kind of wait and you think it's a weird thing for that actor to be in it for such a small amount of time. I mean, we did mention that with what was the last World War II movie with the ship?
Oh, Blood Vessel.
Blood Vessel, that was it. Yeah, you did mention like Blood Vessel had something very similar, like and in this movie, I know that the actor in question is a producer on the film, but yeah, it did seem kind of weird to have that like instantly recognizable actor right at the start, and and there's a few others as well, as you say. It's kind of a little weird, like, but I guess talking about the spoiler, like something I was really impressed by was how almost everything that you see and everything that you hear throughout the movie has a point to it, which works towards the ending and the idea that things aren't quite what they seem in the movie. Like, I definitely have the same pet peeve as you. Like when a movie tries to subvert your expectations, like and pull like a twist, like pull the rug out from under you. Like it's okay, but like if the movie doesn't put in the work throughout the film to really like foreshadow it and make it work, it just feels like something that they've chucked in at the end for no reason.
Yeah.
Like I hate that. But in this movie, like it put me in mind of The Machinist, which like that was a movie where simply watching the trailer, like it really gave you like Fight Club vibes. Like I remember when that movie came out ages ago now, but I remember watching the trailer for that, and everybody in the trailer was thinking, oh yeah, I bet that it's going to end up that he's dreaming and this is whatever. But like the person that he's seeing at work doesn't exist. He's a dream or something like that. And yeah, that's what happens. But why Christian Bale's character is like why he is the way he is and why he's seeing the things that he's seeing and like there's hints to that scattered throughout the entire film, and it was done in a way it made you think you'd kind of figured out the film, like figured out what was happening, but that was just kind of like red herring stuff, and the real twist was so unexpected because of that. Like,
yeah.
This movie's like very similar to that because like as things start piling up and things don't quite seem right, the soldiers themselves start like questioning, like they pick up on it and they start questioning it, which I thought was really interesting. It's like you've still got like 40 minutes of the movie left, and the characters are questioning. It's like, wait, are we in purgatory? Like, are we dead? And stuff like that. I thought that was really, really interesting.
Yeah. Look, that's why I said before, it's kind of a hard movie to review because I thought the twist was quite smart. I just wished, and perhaps, like I said, perhaps it was kind of wrecked for me because I'd read a little bit too much about the movie and knew who was in it. It's one of the reasons sometimes when I go to review a movie and it's like at a film screening like a month or 2 weeks before the film's coming out, I'll try not to watch or read anything about the film just because I might just look up what the genre is so I know what kind of movie I'm heading into, but I'll try not to read too much about the movie, even who's in it kind of thing, just because it can ruin it. Like I said, I was waiting for this guy the entire time. Even though he appeared earlier, I had a feeling that wasn't going to be it for the actor. So yeah, I do. It's really hard because sometimes a trailer can make you really excited to see a film, and in other times, and I notice it more, and I think you've noticed it as well, where you and I have gone and seen a movie at a media screening, and then we've watched the trailer for it, and it's like, oh, that probably shouldn't have been in the trailer. So I think this is one of those movies where, for me, my biggest recommendation would be to people is sit down and watch it, but try not to read too much online or anything about it, because unfortunately a few things have been mentioned about this film that I don't think should have been mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. If we can try to go into it as blind as possible. I know we're talking about the shocker ending and all that, but I guess we're trying to dance around it as much as possible. So, a lot of people, I think a lot of people have really kind of disliked the ending of this. I feel like the ending kind of comes out of nowhere. I don't think that. I just kind of think that the problem is maybe the finale wasn't up to snuff with. Personally, I didn't think that the finale was up to snuff with how well written and put together the rest of the movie was. So you have this great movie leading up to what should be like a jaw on the floor, like Kaiser Sose reveal finale, but I don't know. I think that's the one part that the script kind of fumbled around with, and it didn't work quite as well as it should have. Which is pity, because this is like The Machinist or The Sixth Sense or something like that. This is a movie I'm really keen to go back to and rewatch to better appreciate all the subtle hints that have been dropped throughout the movie, and all this stuff, which being a horror movie, it's just stuff that you take at face value. Oh, the ghost is doing something weird, whatever. But it's like, no, there's a reason that's happening.
Yeah.
And it would be, I kind of want to watch this movie again so I can watch it now knowing what was going on in it. Yeah, I just wish. I guess that's the thing. Like, I just wish that ending could have pulled it off as well as it should have. And again, it probably, like, for me, just watching it, I just think it probably would have helped a little for the movie to not have kind of a schlocky horror film look to it, because, like, I don't know, it's just, I guess that 90% of the film was amazing. It just kind of looked, it like, as much, I didn't really like the ending. I liked 90% of the rest of the film, but I didn't really like the way that it looked, you know? Like, I just kind of felt that kind of cheapened it a little for me, personally.
Yeah. So I guess to sum up, what are you going to give this 1 out of 5?
I'm going to give this 4 out of 5. Les, I really do appreciate how well the writer-director has written for, like, something that's going to be like a twist ending. I really do appreciate how well he's put all that build-up into the movie, and how well the actors pulled it off. Like, I thought that was quite amazing for... Again, something I really wasn't expecting going into it. So, 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm going 4 out of 5 as well. I really love the way a lot of this movie was written. Like I said, it reminded me of movies like Fury, with how well the characters were written early on, and the war situation that they found themselves in. I'm still 50-50 on the twist. Like, I think it's a movie I am going to go back and rewatch just so I can get a better feeling for that twist. But yeah, 4 out of 5 for me as well. That's it for this episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy. We've both given Ghosts of War 4 out of 5. Go and take a look at it, make up your own mind, see what you think of it as well. But for now, I've been Dave G.
And I've been Kyle.
And we'll be back soon with another episode of the Popcorn Conspiracy.